Hello, welcome to a card review video of the cards in Monster Train. I'm here today joined by special guest Cranberry. Cranberry, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Cranberry, aka CranberryGod, aka Eminem. It's me actually, Eminem. I've been
Oh, you're
Eminem the whole time.
you're Eminem, dude?
Hello.
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
We're gonna make a series of videos here going through all of the clan's cards and giving our thoughts on them because that's fun. Anything else to say before we get into it?
I do want to preface this by saying that technically your opinion is more valid than mine.
I wouldn't say that.
I have not made it to Covenant 25 yet.
Yeah, but I don't think
I
that
am
means
only on
anything.
a measly 22.
Oh,
So
only 22.
I just want to just to clarify that if we ever come down to a face off, like a hard disagreement, that by default you should be the accepted expert on the matter. Uh, but also you're wrong.
Yeah, more likely I'm wrong. I mean, I don't really consider myself an expert, especially not with Hellhorned. I feel like if there's one clan that I would say I'm an expert in, it's honestly Umbra at this point. But
I feel like for me personally, I'm the most familiar with Awakened, but Awoken,
Awoken, Awakened.
Awoken, yeah, that's the one I feel like the most comfortable with talking about the cards. But well,
Yeah, we'll
let's stay on
see.
topic.
Yeah, let's
Let's stay on
see.
topic here.
All right, you want to start with the champion or you want to finish with the champion? I feel like we should start with the champion.
I agree. Considering that he will always be there, I feel like it's the best card to start with.
Yeah. All right, so I'll bring up his upgrades here. So you start with Hornbreaker Prince. Oh, champion. You always draw him. 0 energy, 2 space. He's a 6/6, and he's got the 3 upgrades. Brawler, which is armor 10, multi strike 1. Then it scales up. 2 multi strike and 4 multi strike. And then Reaper, the Slay gain attack, and then Wrathful, Slay gain armor, Revenge gain rage 1. I'm gonna start with the multi strike one since that's the one on the left. First one in the order. How do you feel about Hornbreaker Prince with multi strike?
So I mean, this is the post buff to
Yeah, this is post
Hornbreaker
buff
Prince.
with armor.
Yeah, so at the time of recording this, like 2 days ago, right? They had the 1 or 2 days ago they buffed it so that way he starts with 10 base armor for all of his for all of this path, this route, right?
Yeah. It's 10, 15, 20. He actually gets scaling armor.
Oh, he gets scaling on the armor.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a cool thing, and definitely makes him more viable, like more resistant to sweep enemies at the mid game.
Mm-hmm.
And also that
And
one sweet boss in like what is it, the
or
second
two.
floor,
Yeah, High
or two?
Priest of the
Yeah.
Light.
So that makes him a lot better than
Yeah.
before. But he's still kind of weak.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I will say I agree. I don't think that on Covenant 25 you can take the multi strike as your starting upgrade. I think that it will you'll take like upwards of 15 or 20 damage for taking this. He does so little damage.
I will say that for like just all the champions in general, like 99% of the time, you always wanted to stick with the same upgrade path. I'd say like the only exception to that is maybe Hornbreaker Prince because
Yeah.
like getting multi strike 2 and then like slay on it is pretty cool because it gives him scaling, which is neat. And then that scaling multiplies for his multi-strike hits. So, and then he has the ability to get multiple slay triggers if he kills 2 enemies in one round. So there's cool things you can do with him that the other champions, I would just say like you're almost like always better off just staying on the same upgrade path.
Yeah, I think the only other champion that you can really make an argument for is Tethys with getting Sweep and Frostbite
Sweep and
together.
frostbite, yeah,
Yeah,
like
but
that one too. But even then, that's you then lose frostbite damage against like Seraph at the end.
yeah, and that's a pretty
So
big deal. I think for me personally, I like to, especially now that I'm on Covenant 25 and I'm starting to get a feel for it. I feel like one of the most important things on High Covenant is being strong enough to take the first two trials without losing like 40 or like 30 or health or so, because 40 health would actually just kill you.
mhm.
And as a result, I think that the multi strike one Hornbreaker Prince is really bad. I value the ability to take those early trials really highly. However, later on in the game, I think it's a great thing to pick up one multi strike if you went Slay. I think my optimal Hornbreaker Prince setup is probably two into Slay and one into multi strike.
Yeah, that seems about right.
I mean, we more or less covered it, right? Because I feel like we kind of covered Slay there as well. Same thing as like, I like starting Slay plus 10 a lot. You have anything to add to
Mm,
that?
no, not really.
Yeah, and then the third one, Wrathful, Slay gain armor 10, revenge gain rage 1. I don't even know what to say about this one. Like, this is, I think, the only champion upgrade path I've never finished. Like, I've never seen Wrathful 3 in my life.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I think the Wrathful variant got like a pretty big buff,
It
right?
did. It got like a stat boost. Like, I think it got plus 3, and I think it gets scaling armor now. I don't think it used to get scaling armor. I don't know.
I will say that pre buff, he was trash. He was supposed to be some sort of like pseudo, like I guess off tank isn't the right word for it, but he was supposed to be a tank that both took damage and then when he took damage, it started dealing more damage. But his
Yeah,
just base stats were so low
15,
that it was just like
15.
he couldn't take enough hits to then start doing more damage. He would just die
Yeah.
before then.
It's like the
So.
penumbra problem right there. The old
Mhm.
penumbra problem where you just die before you get to do anything.
So I mean I haven't played enough with the new one exactly to get a feel for it, but I think that maybe he can like do a better job of tanking and like him getting armor is definitely like it's supposed to be in like an armor build,
Hmm.
but I don't know.
As it was pointed out actually on my stream last night by Eld, he really likes the Hornbreaker Prince Wrathful path, and he just puts spikes on him, and spikes, like if an enemy hits him with spikes and dies, he triggers the slay. So he just gains like crazy amounts of armor with that.
That's kind of cool, but I do not like putting spikes on anyone who's not like one of the two like really good awoken units for putting spikes on. Like
Yeah,
like Spike's champion is great, and then the Thorn Hollow. Like, but
yeah.
now we're not even talking about this the right card pool anymore. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like I did end up with like 300 armor, but also the enemies just walked right by him. So, you
Mhm.
know, it's something to consider. Maybe I'll have a crazy run with this and we'll come back to this in 2 months and I'll go, actually, Wrathful's insane. But as it sits, I honestly think the only takeable start is Reaper for the Slay plus 10, and it's like if you play it right, you'll take no damage. But it does require the most thinking of the three in my opinion, because you got to like plan 3 or 4 rounds ahead. How are you going to get the first slay trigger to start snowballing?
I
Yeah.
agree.
Anything to add about Hornbreaker Prince? Or are you ready to move on to the cards?
I'm ready to move on to the cards, I think.
All right, I'll bring up the common cards here because we're just gonna go through this common, uncommon, rare. Interestingly enough, I don't know if you've ever looked at these. I mean, you probably did, right? There's like very few common cards in the game.
Yeah, I think that there's more rares than there are commons.
Yeah, there are actually for Hellhorned here at least, and
Yeah,
there's more
I think the
uncommons.
only exception for that is Umbra because the Umbra has the morsel units. Like his
I
whole card pool is messed up.
Yeah, and Melting also has an exception to this, I think, because they just have a ton of weird common units. They have all
Okay.
those tomb units. But
Oh, okay.
first card on the common list here is actually going to be Vent. X cost, deal 2 times X damage to enemy units, where X is the amount of energy you spend on it. How do you feel about Vent?
It's not bad early, but it definitely falls off.
Yeah,
Being
I.
able to kill those like those 9 damage 2 HP units early on for 1 energy
Mm hmm.
is
Mm hmm.
cool, and it is when you think about it, just a much better torch.
Mm hmm.
But torch is trash already, so
Yeah.
being a much better torch isn't necessarily a good thing either.
Yeah, Torch. Maybe we should start with Torch. We'll do Torch second. I always have this problem. I forget that there are starting cards because for some reason it's just ordered weird.
Yeah, it is order. I was looking at it. I was like, is this alphabetical? No, it's
No,
not. What is going on here with the ordering? But
and it's like I think it's by cost. I
um,
think it's by cost and then alphabetical, is what it looks like here. And Vent is first because it's an X cost, which puts it in the front. I
interesting.
think that Vent it's one of those cards that I'll probably always take one of if offered early, but I never really want to pick up after that. It's good if you slap a plus 10 on it because then it becomes a 0 energy AoE 10.
That
But
is true.
like yeah, I mean I think it's something that I'm fine with taking one of and it becomes a decent like clear out all of the backline units. But there's like you're kind of spoiled for choice on how you kill backline units, I feel like, as Hellhorned.
Yeah, you do have a couple options.
Yeah. Anything else for Vent?
No, not really.
All
Good
right.
early,
Yeah.
falls off a lot.
Yeah, you can say that about almost every single X card
And
in this
it
game.
does also still have uses. Like you said, like getting the upgrade on it is nice, and then
Yeah,
if
I
you do get
mean,
the upgrade, it'll help you out. And even then,
And
You
if
know,
you,
it can still kill all the backlines even at like the Seraph fight.
mm-hmm. And
It just costs more.
depending on which type of Seraph you're fighting against, having a way to clear out those 15 times 2 with 5 health boys is like a game breaking.
Yeah, it can be worth it then too. You spending 3 mana to kill them is pretty cool.
Yeah. I think we'll move on to Torch then. And we'll go a little out of order here just because Torch is the starting card.
So in your starting card tier list, where do you put? I mean, let's go S, A, B, C, and then F tier because it is the 5 starting cards,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay. And
And each one gets one,
each
like
one gets
the
one.
ranking. Yeah. So where do you rank Torch?
I think I would put Torch probably A.
Really? A, I put it like maybe like C.
Yeah, I would put it A or B. It's competing with the Awoken's starting card, but
I
uh,
like the Awokens a lot just because of how well it synergizes with their rejuvenate mechanic.
yeah,
But
Torch it lets you just pop it collectors though for the first 2 rounds. Like no matter what,
that is true.
no
That
matter
is
how bad it is, you can always have a chance to kill collectors. Whereas if you're playing some of the other classes, you may just have like, oh, there's no way I ever killed this collector here, and you just whiff.
this is extremely true.
Which is why I think it's good because that early gold really gets you started. But
But
yeah, I mean,
it does just fall off real
yeah,
bad.
oh my god, you got to
It's
remove.
worthless for Seraph. Like, you know, it's just there's no one has 2 HP once you get to like I don't know, 4 or 5.
It's past the Fell fight. After Fell fight, no enemies have 2 HP. They all have 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, it's like it's good, but it definitely has like there are places where every other clan's starting card has use, and Torch just there is no use after a certain point. It's just gone.
I will
But
say for Torch is one of my favorite cards to put the consume
oh
plus
yeah,
20 spell damage on.
yeah, turning it into 22 damage consume is solid.
Because then A is it's good, it's now a good rate, and then B is gone from your deck.
Yeah,
So it's a good target for that.
yeah. I think overall, I'd probably put Torch B. Final answer.
Okay, I still have it as C, I think, but I respect the need for money.
Yeah, I do like money. Up next is going to be Fortify, 0 cost, apply armor 5 to a unit. I'll go first with this one. I think this card is really good, and I would probably almost always take it.
I wouldn't always take it, but it is good. Like
It's,
it's a 0 cost heal that overheals is a kind of a way to think about it, right?
yeah. I,
Um,
I would say the most important thing to keep in mind with Fortify is that you can throw Fortify on your backline units and use it to save them from a sweep fight. I've had at least like probably 5 runs in my mind I can think of where having Fortify was the difference between dying to Sower of Sorrows on floor 5 and living for the run.
mhm.
So I think that it's pretty much an auto include. Although you know if you're playing something where you don't have any squishy backline, then you can probably pass it.
um, I guess we haven't talked about this at all yet, but like, how do you feel about like I guess the armor archetype because there definitely is like a build around for
Yeah,
Hellhorned with stacking armor.
I don't think the armor archetype is very good because it really only has one way to kill enemies, and that is battering ram. And if you miss battering ram, you're just gonna struggle.
That is true. I agree with this that it does hinge on one single card, and if you don't get it, you're screwed.
Yeah,
Um,
enemies. You can have as much armor as you want, but the enemies are just gonna walk right past you, and they're gonna go beat the shit out of you.
I will say that Fortify feels worse with the Awoken as well because they have so many efficient heal cards.
Yeah,
Like
that's true. I.
Fortify does overheal, right, and then protect squishies from sweep. But
Mm-hmm.
when you're not using it for that, and you have the much better heal cards in the Awoken clan, it feels worse.
Yeah, I feel like in Awoken, you're better off taking that +3 attack, +3 health card
Mm-hmm.
instead of Fortify because that does a very similar thing to save you from sweep. I think Fortify shines the most if you're playing with like Stygian as your main because being able to
Yeah,
Fortify
when you're
Tethys.
in that incant build, like you
Oh
can.
yeah,
I was thinking about it before. Like I feel like Stygian's the best for like a big armor build because they can incant armor and then play armor spells with
yeah.
Hellhorn and then just like go crazy.
Yeah, probably because you could get the shark that incants +3 armor. You could get an armor totem, and then you could just have like a holdover fortify. You'd be generating like, oh my god, you'd be generating him 9 armor every round, at
Mhm.
least.
Another thing too to think about is the is it a Hellhorn exclusive artifact, the one that gives you +4 armor whenever you gain armor?
Yeah, it is.
That basically doubles the spell, like a little bit
Yeah,
less, but like, 5 to 9 is like a pretty big jump.
yeah. Overall, I think fortify is solid. Really good card.
I
Up
agree.
next, anything else to say?
No, no,
All right.
I agree, and I'm ready to move on.
All right, up next, our first unit, other than, the champion, we got Fledgling Imp. 1 energy, 1 attack, 1 health, 1 space. Summon, apply Rage 3 to all friendly units. I mean,
He's
he's
pretty
our... Yeah,
he's pretty cool.
he's good. Like, he's our first imp, and imps, 1 space, they can... I think the best thing to say for imps is outside of Welder Helper, every imp you basically can use just to trigger their summon and then also eat 1 hit for the rest of your army.
Exactly, yeah. That's more or less what most of the imps do.
And now I don't really respect going like full on in the imps and taking like impressive and getting the important works in there and all of those imp synergy cards. Something we'll probably talk about a little more when we get to see those imp synergies.
Hmm.
I mean, basically, this guy he just comes down, he throws down 6 attack on all of your units for a round, and if you need it, he also applies it to himself, so he's a 7 attack boy.
Not for long though, but
Yeah, yeah, like 1 round, unless you have rage doesn't decay, but
mhm.
that's a whole different scenario.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the in theory more impactful imps. Like if you have a build around where you're like, you have a backline unit, like your champion, you're going with the multi strike route. That's where rage generally tends to shine, where you get like
Yeah,
multiple uses of that rage bonus. But he's an okay imp.
yeah,
He's good. He's good outside of the imp strategy.
yeah, yeah.
I would actually say he's like if you're trying to do the imp build, he's probably the worst imp.
Yeah, because he really, if you're doing a lot of imps, I mean, I don't think you can fully build around imps, but if you're doing a lot of imps, like he's not gonna do a whole lot for you.
Yeah, I think if you're going for the imps, he's the worst one. But if you're like trying to go for a rage thing, I think he shines best in the take a hit, use the summon ability situation.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else, or ready to move on?
I'm good.
All right. Up next is Hidden Passage. 1 energy spell. Ascend a unit. I think that Hidden Passage is probably one of the best cards that I never want to use.
That's a good way to put it, I think.
It's
Because you look at it and you're like, oh man, I can do some big brain plays with this, but I don't want to have to think about those.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, if I set everything up on the bottom floor, or like set all of my tanks up on the top floor, get my steel workers starting to gain armor, I stack up a ton of armor while my Hellhorn Prince farms Slay on the middle floor, then theoretically he can go up there with a bunch of free Slay and full health, and I don't want to do that. Like,
Yeah,
that's a lot of thinking.
it's a nightmare.
It's like it's
Um,
great. Like I probably will always take this. There's been a lot of scenarios where I've been like, oh, thank God I can ascend a unit here. This basically just saves me from death. But actually playing around it and thinking about it is like this is like I have to plan 8 turns ahead for this card.
I will say, this is one of the spells that's a very good candidate for permafrost.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like some spells, permafrost, like it's a worthless choice, but this is a good spell that holds permafrost on it.
Yeah, because you can save it for that like precise turn where you need to
Mhm.
send your unit up.
And I'll say also it's a cool flexible spell, right? Like you don't see
Yeah.
it too often, but it's a spell that has multiple purposes. It's like I can use this to move a unit up to a floor that's already full and make a mega floor.
Mm-hmm.
I can use this to separate a tank from its squishy backline. The
Mm-hmm.
tank moves up a floor, and then the backline is vulnerable. It's a good spell. It's a cheap, but it's not always good, which is why like permafrost is good on it because you can wait for it to be the right time to play it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's another one of those spells that I'll pretty much always take, but too many of them you don't really
Having a
need.
copy of like one
Yeah.
copy is the perfect number probably.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
you don't need more than one.
All right. Up next, Hornbreak, 1 energy, piercing, deal 5 damage spell. Uh, I think that Hornbreak is a spell that really, really after you beat Daedalus, you really want to give this +10 because this just kills every tank in the game at +10 damage on it.
every armor tank.
Yeah, every armor tank, right? Exactly.
Yeah, they're still like the beefy sweet boys. They don't die to it, but like,
Right. But like it kills backline, and it's basically just a better torch, right? Kills backline.
oh yeah, it just obviously it's a better torch,
Yeah,
right? Like,
basically every spell is better torch when you think about it.
well, no, frozen lance, but
That's true. Yeah.
but it's just getting that one damage upgrade on it is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, though, you don't need anything else on it. Like, going up to 25 does nothing for it.
Right.
Uh, you don't want any other effects on it, really. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one of those spells. You'll always see a common card pack from your first, and I think maybe your second. You'll always see pretty much all common cards from your first two combats. And I very rarely don't take at least one Hornbreak unless I already have one.
Hmm.
Just a great spell.
Do you think it works like better with any other like maybe Stygian and like some sort of like incant deck or
Not
a
really.
spell weakness? Yeah, I feel like it's just not
Nah.
impactful enough on its own.
I would go so far as to say it's possibly even worse because there are situations where you want to cast spells on your own units. Like you want to, if say I have a bunch of torches in my hand and a Hornbreak in my hand, and I have an energy that I'm gonna float. You want to throw your torch down to trigger incant. You throw your
Yeah, you
Hornbreak
want
down,
you
you
want to
might
hit
just
your you want to hit your hot shark with it instead,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
he's net gaining armor.
Yeah, and then instead Hornbreak's just gonna punch right through his armor and maybe kill him.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, but no, it's like it's just a good spell. I think it's always good. Up next
I
here.
agree.
We got Molting Imp, 1 energy, 1 attack, 1 health, 1 space. Summon, deal 5 damage to enemy units. He's fine, right? Similar to Vent, honestly, except he's comes with a 1/1 body.
I'd say he's better than Vent,
Yeah, he's a little better than Vent.
a little bit better. And I think if you're going for the Imp Matter setup, he's better than most of the other imps. Maybe not as good as Welder, but like still pretty good.
Yeah, I think that he's just a good imp, because a lot of times what he really lets you do is if you have this imp, you can pretty confidently take on like invasion marks because this guy just goes in there and wipes out entire floors of invasion if you draw him.
Yep.
He's good. Like I'm not sure he's an auto include, right? If I'm not really building around imps and I already have other damage spells, but
If you
he's.
get Vent first, you don't need him. But if you
Mhm.
have the choice between him and Vent, I would take him over Vent.
I think I would as well. Yeah, because he just kind of like
But they
crushes.
they more or less fill the same role.
Yeah, except you get the 1/1 body to take a hit for you, which could be a big deal.
Very true as well.
Up next, another imp on the list here. We got Welder Helper. 1 energy, 1 attack, 1 health, 1 space. Summon, apply 15 armor to the front friendly unit. I think this is the best imp.
He's pretty good.
I don't necessarily know what the I think I know all the imps, but I mean in the comment here I think this is the best imp for sure.
I think yeah, I'll say I agree with, at least in the comment here, he's the best imp.
Yeah. They all kind of fit their niches, right? They all do their own thing, but Welder Helper, instead of just being like I tank 1 hit, this guy can just be your tank for the first 2 floors. He's better than Train Steward. He's better than
I think there's an interesting argument for him to actually just be a good tank in
yeah.
general. Like
Could,
you give him like HP upgrades. You give him 2 of those. He's now, a 1 space, effectively what, like
2 upgrades would put him
60,
at
yeah, put him at
51.
51 health,
So
15
yeah,
armor, a 1 space 65 HP unit.
yeah, that's
That's
pretty good.
interesting, and he's the only one in the game who can more or less do that. So
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I've never used him like that, but yeah, that seems pretty good. Usually, I kind of just throw him down in the back, let him hit one of the other 2 armor scaling units, and let him ride. But it doesn't sound too bad.
but even if you don't use him for that, he's still pretty cool.
Yeah, 15 armor. He's like a 15 health heal as one of the.
And because he sticks around for a while, if you're trying to do some sort of crazy jank consumer of crowns and actually play it legitly,
Mm-hmm.
this is probably the best imp for that because he can survive longer because he can put
Yeah.
the armor on himself.
Yeah, and he doesn't necessarily like. You're never gonna throw this guy into an empty floor where you may throw Molting Imp down just to nuke a floor, and then Molting Imp's gonna get killed a little later. Yeah, I think Welder Helper's the best imp though for sure. I don't know how often I would take him. Probably like the thing is I wouldn't always take him, right? Like Molting Imp, I think there's a lot of situations where I would take him. I'd probably take him more than Welder Helper, but Welder Helper, when he hits his niche, he's always gonna go insane. That 15 armor is value.
I agree.
Up next, of course, can't finish out the common tier without Ritual of Battle. 3 energy spell, apply 6 rage.
It just never works out.
Yeah, this card sucks. Like
It just never works out.
every
I
single
want it to be
time.
good.
I also want it to be good. Every time I play this though, it's like, wow, this is just my entire turn for 6 rage.
Like, and then you have to like spend upgrades on it to reduce the cost,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like I wasted all my money. My units suck now, and it's just
Yeah, I mean,
it just never works.
the biggest problem this card has is that there's an uncommon card that does its job way better.
Yeah,
It's just bad. I don't think I would ever willingly take this card outside of like maybe I was forced into taking multi-strike Prince and I have no better options. But like even just compare Ritual of Battle to Fledgling Imp. The only thing it has over it is the fact that it doesn't go away
yeah.
after first play. And that's a 2 energy cost to make this card reusable. It's just not worth it. I think this is the only common card in Hellhorned that I think is like an almost avoid at all costs. Like every single one of these cards is good. Ritual for Battle, or of Battle as it is called here. Like you have to put like 50 gold in it just to put it down to 1 cost and then it's passable.
I would say if you do that, it's like actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like a
Or think
reusable.
about all the other cards that you're now not reducing the cost
Mm-hmm.
of, right?
Right, because that's all of the upgrade slots, and you could be spending those 2 upgrade slots on something else that's a lot more valuable, right? Like instead of that, imagine putting +10 and -1 cost on the Hornbreak, or like, you know, I was gonna compare Fortify, but these would be a different costed upgrade because I was gonna say double stack and hold over, but that's like
I think if you in like Magical Christmas Land, if you get the 3 upgrade slots, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The relic for that. If you get 3 upgrade
Yeah, yeah,
slots,
yeah,
you go 2 upgrade costs down and then double stack it.
yeah, or
Like
hold over it.
yeah, like that would be pretty cool.
But like, how often are you really gonna see that
Yeah,
and
yeah,
not die on
exactly.
the way?
If you get that relic and then have find Ritual of Battle and you're like, I have so much money, then you can go for it. But other than that,
No.
yeah, it's just not that great.
I think the only time I ever have this card in the deck is when it's forced upon me as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I think that's it for commons. Ready to move on to uncommons here.
I am ready.
Closing thoughts, I think it's nice maybe do a little like overall power level, how you feel about the common cards from Hellhorned. Because I think that Hellhorned has like some of the better common cards, really.
Consistently good, except for you, Ritual of Battle.
Mm-hmm, yeah. This probably would be like maybe the best, except for Ritual Battle is here.
I haven't really put too much thought into the each clan, like their overall level at each rarity
Yeah.
value. So I don't want to compare, but I will say, good job.
Yeah, like
Hellhorn.
thumbs up. I think I'm generally happy if I'm given a random common card. I'd typically be okay with it. Alright, on to the uncommons here. Starting off, we got 0 energy spell, consume, add 2 random imp units to your hand. This is Imp in a Box.
Do you know how many times I've like just played out my hand, had imp in a box, and I'm like, oh, it costs 0. I have 0 energy. Let's
Uh-huh.
play it. And then the imps
Uh-huh.
cost energy, and I'm like, I forgot.
Yeah, it's like the big thing. They cost 1.
Yeah.
It's
So MLG pro tip: make sure you play this before running out of energy.
yeah. Don't forget that the imps cost 2 energy. This is effectively 2 1 energy imps that you get for free. This spell is okay. I mean, I very rarely take it because it's just so random.
Yeah,
Sometimes you
I agree.
sometimes you cast Imp in a Box and you get that 5 damage Imp exactly when you need him, and sometimes it gives you 2 Pyre Chompers when you have all 0 cost spells in your hand and you just go, ah shit.
Yeah.
It's just too much variance. I'm not a big fan of it.
If you're really going hard in the paint on imps, then sure, take it. See how
Yeah.
it goes. Because like in those decks, they just want more imps no matter what. So
Yeah. Yeah, I
yeah,
guess
you can take your time, but
if you're going all
I
in on imps, sure.
I still don't know how much I trust imps. But
I don't trust them very much. Up next here, 0 energy spell, Imp Portent Work. Sacrifice Imp, gain 2 energy, draw 1.
I think this is worse than imp in a box.
I don't know. It's okay, right? I think the big thing about important work, first of all, it's horrible to say this card. The fact that they made this pun is terrible because it's so hard to say this.
Yeah, that's. I mean, like all of the imp spells are puns, so
Yeah,
get over it.
yeah, you're right.
But just the fact that it's a spell that requires you to have a creature out on the field first is already sketchy, right?
Yeah, the thing it has going for it is like if you have a bunch of, I think the main imp that this is for is Mr. Welder Helper. All of the other imps, I think you can just get them killed, right? This spell and the other sacrifice imp spell are good for Welder Helper because you want to put him behind whoever is tanking for you, and he makes them more tanky. So
Yeah,
you need a way to get rid of him.
if you have a tank, yeah, put him behind and then sack him to clear out the space again.
Yeah, but like for the most part, I think you can just kill off all of your imps. Their effects don't really matter. So you're taking this for 2 energy, draw 1, which I don't really care for that much.
Yeah. How many imps do you think you need in your deck before you take important work?
Like actually actively go, yes, give me this card. So
Yes.
there's two situations. There's if you have Impsicle, the relic that generates imps, in which
Oh,
case this is
not
an
not
auto
counting
take.
that's
Yeah,
illegal. Of course,
that's
then like, this is a good card.
yeah, that's always a good card here. Other than that, it's like you probably need, let's see, let's say for Seraph it's 8 rounds of combat. You probably want like somewhere in the ballpark of like 7-ish imps before I'd really feel like this card is going to generate consistent value.
You're never getting 7 imps.
Yeah, I mean, hey dude, that's only 3 imp in the boxes. Don't talk shit.
You're right. I will say you brought up a good thing there before. Imsicle, like this is an auto include to get
Oh
Imsicle.
yeah, like any either of the sacrifice imp cards, if you have the generate an imp a turn relic, are just such insane value because you always have an imp for fuel.
As well as Implosion too, I would say.
Yeah, uh, dude, the imp decks are so weird.
Yeah. I think they rely too much on the relic. We can talk about that later, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll do a separate video for relics.
yeah,
This one's
yeah.
already going to be a pretty long video.
Hmm.
Up next is Rage Serum, 0 energy spell, consume, apply Rage 3.
Yo, Ritual of Battle is so jealous of Rage Serum, dude.
It's like, I don't know though, because like I think this card also kind of sucks, because this is just like 0 energy for 6 damage that decays in 3 turns.
So like when you have synergies that revolve around rage, like the brute, whatever is deranged brute,
Mm-hmm.
etc.
Yeah, then
When
it's
you have
okay.
when you like go into that hard in the paint rage synergy, this is like amazing.
Yeah,
But outside of it, like if you're not intending on abusing rage, you do not want this in your deck.
right.
Like absolutely not.
It basically comes down to in a vacuum, this card is bad, and then synergistically, this card is pretty nuts.
Yeah.
I guess it's alright. I don't play with it a ton. I feel like I just don't see it a whole lot though.
I don't know. I feel like I see it like a decent. It doesn't matter. It
Yeah.
you know.
Fun fact, I think I've done the numbers, and this is one of the cards that you're most likely to see if you take the get a random consumable card event and you pick Hellhorned. You almost always get Rage Serum because it gives you one of the lower. It tends to give you a low rarity consume card, and this is one of the lowest rarity consume cards for.
What about Imp in a box?
Yeah, what about Imp in a box? I don't know. I never see Imp in a box from that event. I always see Rage Serum.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like it's that, and then with the Awoken, I feel like I always see Wildwood Sap, which is
Yeah,
amazing also. But like
yeah. Up
I don't
next.
know. I don't know what their card pools are, but whatever.
Up next here, Branded Warrior, our first actual unit. One
I
energy.
believe his name is Brandon
Ah,
Warrior.
yes, Brandon Warrior. For the Brandon State Warriors. No, I think that's not right. 1 energy, 10 attack, 5 health, Rage 4, Slay, apply Rage 3 to friendly units. He takes up 2 capacity. How do you feel about this guy?
I'm a little biased. One of my first like early wins, I uh I had him. I gave him multi strike and large stone,
Mm hmm.
and then right away I found the event that makes 5 copies.
Ah, yes.
So I just literally filled up my train with him, and he just carried me. But that was like Covenant like 3 probably. It was
Yeah,
very early.
I feel like your first run where you get that duplicate a card 5 times. I had this exact same thing happen to me, except with a different unit, and that unit didn't carry me. The unit I had was Husk Hermit, or
Mhm.
yeah, and that unit didn't carry me, and I don't think I've picked him since that run, like 90 hours ago, because I was just like, oh, this guy fucking sucks. I lost. What the hell? So I have the exact opposite experience, but I've had like a few runs where Branded Warrior has been all right, and a lot of I think that basically every run I have where he's all right though, I give him Large Stone and let him become a pseudo tank for a while.
Yeah, I've done that as well. Like I said in my story, that's what they were all
Yeah, all
just
large.
beef tanks. So they just went in and just took hits and dished it out. And they have like a built-in scaling mechanic where when they slay, not only do they buff themselves, they buff everyone,
Yeah,
which is really cool.
you can get him with like a multi-strike boy on the same floor with him, and he can get a few hits in there. I think the biggest problem that he faces is it's hard for him to get slay starting out. He's at a what?
He's so weak. He's
Yeah,
so weak
he
in the beginning.
starts out at
And
like 18 attack with his Rage 4.
hmm
I think he's one of the better units to apply that Rage 7 store buff to. I think he makes some of the better usage of it.
yeah, he's definitely up there. And then he's good,
Yeah,
but like he needs to be invested in, right?
yeah, you
If he
definitely.
later game he'll fall off way too hard if you don't give him the stats required to obtain those slay triggers.
Yeah, I think that he actually synergizes with one of the units we'll be talking with next, soon anyway. Rail Beater. I think Rail Beater really enables him.
Yes, yes, but Rail
Oh yeah,
Beater, yeah,
Rail Beater. We'll get into that.
yeah.
He's an interesting one. Up next is Horned Warrior. 1 energy, 30 attack, 4 health, 2 space, no card text. I think Horned Warrior is really good. I have had a lot of runs where Horned Warrior has carried me with just giving him +10 and multi-strike and slapping him behind someone. However, taking that strategy is really reliant on avoiding spikes and sweep.
Yeah.
Horned Warrior
I
is
was gonna say
glass.
he is he is the maybe I would say he's the biggest glass cannon because there's the multi strike three HP
Yeah.
person. He's a little bit glasser, obviously, but like
He's real glass.
yeah, also now that I see them next to each other, like how do you feel about like the alternate arts for like how everyone has like one alternate art and they're just like
Yeah, it's weird, right? It's weird that there's essentially two types of every single unit in this game, right? I
I've had so many times I've taken Rail Beater and thought he was Steelworker.
Yeah, that's the one that I get mixed up the most because they're like the exact same unit. Like I don't know if I've ever mixed up Branded Warrior and Horned Warrior, for example, because they're very different
Yeah, they have tech.
units. Yeah, one. Yeah, also one of them has text,
hmm
but I don't know. I kind of like it. I like that there is like two versions of every unit in the game. It's kind of cool. And overall, I think I like Horned Warrior over Branded Warrior for myself. I just like that raw power.
I like Brandon more a little bit just because I like the potential that he has. Horned
Yeah.
Warrior, you see him and he's like, I'm not getting any better than this. I mean, like
You have to invest in him as well.
yeah,
It's weird. I feel like
Mhm.
Hellhorned has the worst tanks in the game by a lot.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
maybe melting might have worse tanks, but it's hard to say.
Well, their tanks do different things, right? Like
Yeah.
like the best tank. Well, we keep talking about the other clans. We'll get to
Mm.
when we get to them,
But
right?
yeah,
But
there's like a little bit of crossover. You got to compare to the clans a little bit since you take two
yeah,
clans at once. But for
yeah. Like
now, overall, I think
they have weak tank choices.
yeah, Hellhorned.
Also,
I think the like Horned Warrior is cool if you get a good tank to slap in front of him, but I feel like the tanks that you get just with Hellhorned are not the greatest. So Horned Warrior kind of can struggle if you're not playing someone where you get a good tank to go with him.
and then he
And
gets
like,
sweep.
yeah, like he's a great candidate for just like throwing a lot of fortifies on to get him to survive getting
I
swept.
would say he's a better candidate for large stone than Branded Warrior is
Yeah,
because
yeah,
then
he is. I
he
agree.
does it all.
He tank, he hit, he size. Up next, 1 energy, 1 attack, 1 health. You thought we were done, but we're back. 1 capacity, Impish Scholar. Summon, return a random consume spell to your hand. This is the weirdest imp in the game. Hands down.
Really, not Transcendent.
No, I think that Impish Scholar is weirder than Transcend Imp.
Okay.
I just. It how many consume spells do you have that you want to bring back as Hellhorned? Because I think the answer
Imp
is
in a
like
box.
0. Get the ultimate combo. Play Imp in a box. Get Impish Scholar. Play Impish Scholar. Get Imp in a box. Get from Imp in a Box, get Impish Scholar and Pyre Chomper, and then you just do this combo for the
Yeah,
rest of
just do it forever,
eternity.
dude.
And that just sounds like that's just hell. There's your theoretical infinite in this game. They've done a great
Except
job.
except for the part where you run out of room.
That's when
Now you just have trains full of imps.
an entire train of 1/1 imps. Oh shit. No, I think that Impish Scholar is a very weak imp, unless you're playing like he's the imp that's most dependent on your other faction. Because like if you got a sweet consume spell that you want to bring back from one of your other clans, like bringing back a space prism, he's gonna go insane. But for the most part, like Hellhorned has garbage cards to bring back.
Yeah, I feel like in general you don't want to rely on a consume card to be played multiple times because like
Yeah.
you, you only play it once. Like if you're like in the mindset like, oh man, I need to get Impish Scholar so I can play my Rage Serum a second time. Like I
Yeah.
need to. Like
If,
it's just
if that's your win condition, your run is fucked.
yeah,
You're just done for. I think that Impish Scholar is the worst imp, but he has cool art.
that is true.
He's sitting there. He's got his little book. He's got his little glasses on. He looks like a scholarly imp. Up next.
Well, real quick, I like his scarf.
Oh yeah, you're right. His scarf is sweet. I didn't even notice it. What the hell? In terms of actual value, I think Impish Scholar is the worst scholar. In terms of imp art, Impish Scholar crushes it. There's no contest.
I agree.
Hottest imp in the game.
Also, I like how important work is his ghost.
Yeah, that's true. It's literally just him sitting there, but instead he's holding the card that he's presumably bringing to you.
Oh, that's his corpse underneath him. I've just realized.
Oh my god,
I
they
didn't
killed
know what
him.
that was underneath him. Yeah, that's his dead body.
Holy shit, dude. That's intense. He just got fucking murdered probably because he brought back Imp in a box. All right.
I mean, more likely he brought back impressive.
And then we killed him with it. Oh god. Up next is, of course, Impressive. 1 energy, sacrifice Imp, deal 50 damage to the front enemy unit. How do you feel about Impressive?
I mean, how many imps? Like again, how many imps do you need in your deck to
Like,
reliably pick up impressive?
I don't think let me put it like this. I don't think there's ever been a situation where I've actively taken Impressive. I've always been forced it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this card.
And again, it is an auto include if you have Imsicle, basically.
Yeah, of course. But,
And even then, I wouldn't call it exactly an auto include because when you think about it, then you have to spend 1 mana to play the imp. You get the imp effect, and then you have to spend 1 more mana. So it's two energy, and then like 50 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the best deal ever?
No, and when you look at it as well, 50 damage is not a lot of damage.
It's also to the front unit as well.
Yeah, so like dealing 50 damage to the front enemy unit means you're going to be maybe half health in Clipped Guardian in the mid game, and in the late game you're going to be tickling the 190 health of Gilded Wings, the main frontliners.
So maybe I've convinced myself I just don't like it that much.
No, I think it's kind of bad.
Again, probably playable with Imsicle, but even without, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like...
Is there a way to do anything cool with it? Can you, like you make a call 0, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, like, maybe you can... No, what can you
no,
do?
that's it. You
That's it. Okay, wait, I've got it. You could combo March of Shields, our next card, and just move an enemy unit to the front, and then use Impressive to hit their backline.
I didn't even realize you could use March of Shields on enemies.
Yeah, because why the fuck would you? To hit them with Impressive.
That's cool, though.
Yeah, like that's worthless. You're spending 2 energy to kill a 2 health unit.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to our next card, of course. 1 energy spell, move a unit to the front, apply armor 10, March of Shields.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's alright.
It's a decent enough value on it, just at face value.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say where this card is really like an auto include is if you're playing some sort of Sketches of Salvation build.
Yeah, or like just in general, it's kind of nice to be able to move your units around. Maybe you have 2 tanks, something like that. Like maybe I don't know why you would ever have 2 tanks, but
I've had 2 tanks with Awoken where it's like, okay, both of these boys have a lot of spikes. I put Spike Channeler behind both of them, and now they'll just sit there and kill the boss when it comes around eventually.
I think the main use case for March of Shields, the reason this card was made, is So that you can combo it with like ascend a unit up, so you could just like ascend your tank in the
Mhm.
dire situation, then March of Shields him straight to the front.
I have done that as well before, and it's been pretty cool. But like the worst case scenario is March of Fields is like an okay rate, and then it also has a little bit of utility.
Yeah, it's right. It's like it's if you need it, right? The one energy apply 10 armor is cool. However, also for my usage of applying armor, as I talked about with Fortify, this card's actually kind of bad because I typically use armor to try and keep squishy backliners alive against sweep, and flying those units to the front
It,
is just
it,
gonna
it
kill
does
them.
not do that part well.
Yeah, no, that's the only downside. But for the most part, it's good.
hmm I really like the thing you said before about applying it to an enemy. I didn't even realize you could do that, but
Yeah,
like if
you
they have like
can.
a really good backline unit, you can just it gives them more HP, but you can just put them to the front and they'll probably die.
Yeah, they're typically gonna die to whatever you're casting on them anyway, because they're gonna have like 3 or 4 health,
Not
maybe.
even, it doesn't even necessarily need to be like a front enemy damage spell. Just putting them into the front so they get hit first by
Yeah,
your units. It's cool. I
yeah.
didn't realize that was a thing you could do with it.
Yeah, it's an okay card. I think it's like not an auto include, but it's like a I'll take one of these when I need it, right? And when do
Yeah.
I need it? I need more health on my frontliners.
hmm
Also, you could use this to like uh, use Welder Helper and then send Welder Helper up to the front to be sacrificed.
That's true as well.
It's okay. Like it's got its uses. It's kind of fun. You can do some fun stuff with it. Up next, 1 energy, 1 attack, 1 health. 1 space, summon, gain 4 energy. We're talking about Pyre Chomper.
It's free energy.
Yeah, it's like you're giving up the card space for this though. I typically don't take this unless I have like a reason to. Like basically I'll
I
take this with Unbroken Horn.
I agree. In
Yeah.
general, not necessarily for Unbroken Horn, because as funny as it is, I think Unbroken Horn is actually not that great in this game.
I have the opposite opinion. How
Oh
have
my
we
god.
done this? We've actually
Um,
switched.
yeah, I don't value energy too much, just because of the fact that it's easy to reduce the cost of cards, and
Yeah. Well, let me
card draw itself is not very common. If like it was easier to draw more cards, then
for
I would
sure.
play energy more. But
Well,
because there's so few ways to get more cards in your hand, I find myself often with cards like Pyre Chomper just being like, okay, I have 4 energy. I spend 2 of it. My hand is empty. What do I do now?
yeah. You will typically float energy with Pyre Chomper. However, I think Pyre Chomper, similar to Impish Scholar, really depends on your secondary clan. Because if you have a good X card with Pyre Chomper, like if you can throw down Pyre Chomper and then get like a 6 energy forever consumed off from Umbra, for example, and you just
Yeah.
get to do like 180 damage to front enemy unit, that's pretty sweet. But in a vacuum, this guy's bad. But there are situations where if you can swing it, maybe put permafrost on a good X card, and then get this guy to farm you 3 energy, he's pretty okay.
Also, if you're trying to play Consumer of Crowns legitly, this is the best imp for it.
That's true. Yeah, that makes sense. Consumer of Crowns, of course, the best unit in the goddamn game.
I've never played a Consumer of Crowns legitly, I think, at this point.
I actually have paid 10 energy for that unit.
You How'd you do that? Was it with Unbroken Horn?
Yeah, I just had like no, yeah, I just had a shitload of energy from Unbroken Horn. I was like double casting Pyre Chompers and things like that with the summon twice effect.
Okay.
I was floating like 20 energy on turns. It was ridiculous. Uh, Up next, 1 energy, 10 attack, 10 health, 2 space,
Oh,
armor
it's
10, strike, push the attacked unit to the back.
time to beat.
Rail beater, our boy.
He's weird.
Yeah, he's so fucking weird, dude. Like I don't even think this guy's good. But like he's good sometimes.
Is he a tank? What does he do?
What does he do? What he does is he beats rails.
I had a time where I had multi strike on him, and he was just like he would hit the front unit back and then kill the person behind him, and I was like, that's kind of cool.
That is kind of
But like,
cool.
but he's just like it's like the what's it called? The thorn crown of thorns or whatever it's called, the relic that
Right.
switches the units around.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes it ruins you.
Yeah, sometimes this just kicks a heavy to the back. Like sometimes this just kicks Master of Light to the back. Master of Light then farms your entire wave because he doesn't die. He sweeps you straight to hell. But I think the main thing, the main idea behind Railbeater is you're supposed to put him down and you're supposed to put a strong Slay unit behind him, and then Railbeater, like cracking open a can of sardines, just smacks that bitch to the back, and then your Slay unit kills their squishy backline.
He's also just like pretty tanky, but not that tanky.
Yeah, he needs some help. He needs that armor applied to him because he's only 10 health, but he has 25 armor. He needs armor applied to him, or he needs like plus 25 health, right?
Hmm.
Or large stone. Like he's pretty good if you throw a large stone on him.
That's true as well.
I think like he basically if you I think my nightmare is probably playing like Hellhorned. I don't know. How every other class has a good front line, but I think the weakest front line is probably melting. It's just my nightmare is trying to figure out what the fuck my front line is and then just getting offered like 10 rail beaters in a row and just eventually conceding and going, ah shit, I'm gonna have to try to win with this dumbass. Let's see what's next. Ah, yes. Up next, we have 1 energy, 10 attack, 15 health, resolve, gain armor 5, 2 space, Steelworker. Railbeater's lost cousin who's better than him.
I like Steelworker.
I think Steelworker's way better.
He is maybe the best unit in the entire game to put in floor 3.
Yeah, because by the
And let him
time...
kill there.
Yeah, like basically you just throw this guy up there and you just delay the enemies with train stewards and things like that. By the time they get up there, he's got like 20 armor. He's looking pretty good. He also heals at the end of every round as long as he doesn't die.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. I mean, he's the better tank in my opinion. Railbeater, the big part that I can say about Steelworker is Steelworker never accidentally kills you.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, say what you want about every other tank in this game, but I've never had Steelworker accidentally kill me. Looking at you, Railbeater.
Yeah. Another thing too to point out is that again, like Fortify, if you have the +4 whenever you gain armor relic,
Yeah.
that's 9 armor every turn.
Yeah, Steelworker goes insane.
That's like a big boost. So good job, Steelworker.
Yeah, Steelworker, thumbs up, approved. I'll take this guy, and when I take him, I'll go, I guess.
I think he is the de facto best tank for Hellhorn, but still, in the grand scheme of things, not a great tank. And if your other faction has a better tank, probably take him instead.
Yeah, he's a tank who scales just a lot slower. But he is a tank who scales in like tankiness as you want in a tank. However, Steelworker has a cap like at your best case in a combat, he's going to get 9 armor around, which at best is 72 armor, which sounds like a lot, but when you're looking at 4,000 health Seraph, you go, oh wait, that's not a lot.
Yeah.
Especially if he's getting hit on the way.
Mm-hmm.
Up next here, 2 energy, 10 attack, 20 health, 3 space, strike, plus 3 attack. We got Alpha Fiend, aka Alpha Friend.
You can go first on this one.
Okay.
I have a lot of thoughts about Alpha Fiend.
I personally really like Alpha Fiend. I think that you throw a multi-strike on this guy, you throw someone who can take a few hits in front of him, and this guy will carry you halfway through the run on his own.
I agree.
Yeah.
Except I just feel like I've had like a lot of runs at High Covenant, and I just feel like every time I get this guy, it's just like he's just a little short of getting me there. Every time I play him, he's almost statted good enough. Like he's got enough HP, right? But he has a pretty low attack.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're using him as like your DPS carry, he just starts off so weak, and he scales, right? That's like this whole point.
Yeah.
But multi-strike, he's getting +6 attack every turn.
I think that,
but you gotta put him on like floor 1 so he's getting those attacks off every time.
Yeah, I think that he's probably one of the most important units in the game to get multi-strike on. Like him and like maybe Cold Kalia from Stygian are the most important ones.
Mm-hmm.
And without it, I think he's just mediocre. But it's pretty easy to hit multi-strike if you're lucky, right? There's only I think 4 options in that upgrade slot that you can see. So if you just reroll, you should eventually see it. Hopefully. Now, I think that he does have 2 major drawbacks. He's 2 energy and he's 3 space. I think that does make him very clunky.
He's big.
Yeah. Early on, this boy... Go on.
You're probably going to want to have to get a room upgrade for your first one. So that way you can put a 3-size tank in front of him too then.
Yeah, depending on who your secondary is, you probably will need that. But I like him. I mean, I think I take him most of the time because even in the worst case, you just throw him down on his own and let him rip up a few waves for you in the early game.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, 2 energy, spell, piercing, deal 5 damage, apply armor 20. It's branding right.
It's a cool spell.
Yeah, I'm going to let you take the reins on this one. This is a spell that I think I've only ever taken once.
Yeah, I haven't taken it too much either, but it's a flexible spell.
Yeah, it's Hornbreak, but with apply armor 20 on it.
Yeah, so like the use case here is, oh, this could kill a little baby on their side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or I can use this to make my tank much better.
Yeah, like
It's a net 15 HP increase as long as the thing that you're applying it to survives.
yeah.
Or it's 5 damage on an enemy and it kills a little baby.
I think the biggest problem with it is that piercing on it, because that means that it goes through your unit's armor. So like at best, Rail Beater can only take one of these Steelworker can only take two
Mhm.
unless you give them more health. But that's not too
And
hard
then,
to
and
do.
then and then also it kills your what's it called? Your warrior boys, your
Oh
branded
yeah, like
warrior
it just
and your
insta
horn
kills them.
warrior. So you can't use it for that backline safety as well,
Yeah,
which is a downside.
I
So
don't have
there's issues, and honestly, I don't think it's that good. It's a
no.
cool spell. I don't think it's that good.
Yeah, I think that in the same slot you could just like the drawback on like it's got a drawback that's also occasionally a benefit, and I think March of Shields has the same thing going for it. A drawback occasionally a benefit, but I think that the benefit drawback on branding right is worse.
The rate is just worse, right? When you
Yeah,
think about it, right? You're
two
paying one
energy.
energy for 10 armor on March of Shields
Mm-hmm.
with an effect that's sometimes bad, but often if you use it correctly is actually a benefit, right?
Yeah,
Branding right, the if you're using it in the armor mode, it's a net 15 gain, which is a much worse rate than March of Shields. And then if you're using it as that 5 piercing damage, it's double the cost of Hornbreak. So
yeah.
the rates on it are bad. You pay for that with the flexibility, but I don't think that flexibility is that worth it.
No, I think you've convinced me. I think this card sucks.
I don't want to say it sucks,
It's like
but it's not great.
it's like C tier at best. It's a below average.
Also, it carries upgrades terribly, or like right, like plus 10 damage. It's like, oh, now I can't use this on my own units.
Yeah, I actually gave this double stack once, and then instead of giving it -1 energy, I accidentally gave it +10 damage and went, oh, I can't play this anymore.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and then I went, well, I lost.
I didn't think about the double stack is actually pretty cool on it.
Yeah, it goes up to 40 armor, and that's pretty good
Yeah,
value.
that's a great that's a great rate then, but like
Yeah, I don't know.
it's weird.
It's weird. Up next here, 2 energy, spell, apply rage 4 and armor 5, eat your heart out, ritual of battle, we got inflame.
Yeah, I would just say this is also better than
No, it's
Ritual of Battle
yeah,
by a lot.
it's just straight up better.
Mm-hmm.
You're losing 2 rage on ritual of battle, and for that you're tacking on fortify, a 0 energy card,
Yeah,
and it's 1 less cost.
it's good.
It's really good.
It's
Probably.
not amazing, but it's good. If you want to put it on your back line to keep them from getting one shot, it does
Mm-hmm.
that, and then it makes them do more damage.
Yeah. And I think this is one of the best cards in Hellhorn's set to gain double stack on.
That's
Because
true,
it's
and
like
also
double.
it's really nice to give it a -1 cost as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Great card. I take this a lot of the time. Up next, 2 energy spell, ascend a unit and apply dazed 2, tiresome climb.
What a weird card.
What? Yeah, what a weird card. It's another one that I take often. Like, despite not really loving it, if you give this -1 cost and you give it permafrost, I think this card's really good.
That's a lot of upgrades to make it slightly worse than Ascend.
I don't know, but the days 2 is really important because that flexibility you use it in the pyre
Yeah,
room, you get 2 free rounds of shots in on an important enemy. You use
yeah.
it to free farm a sleigh on one of your sleigh units. I think it's okay. Can skip 2 rounds of a
I like Ascend
boss.
more. I wish this card was in a different faction, so that way, like other factions had like more ways to move enemies around.
Yeah.
Does
I
Stygian have a single card that moves enemies?
no, not like through 4s, I don't think they do.
That this card makes more sense as Stygian because Stygian also has a couple of cards that days,
Oh no,
right?
no, no. Stygian does have a card that moves enemies. They have Siren Song.
Oh, oh, Siren Song. You're right. Mhm,
Firebound, drag them up.
mhm.
I think that the one of the best cases to use tiresome climb is like keep your bottom floor clear, the boss spawns, and you just ascend the boss into your second floor where all your units are, and that'll kill everything that spawned with the boss and give you 2 free rounds on
That's
it.
pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
But like that's why I think permafrost is good on this because I think this is mostly used on bosses because paying 2 energy for this straight up in a regular round is not feeling good.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
You've convinced me it's not strictly worse than Ascend now.
No, I think that the Days 2 is nice. But Ascend does the same thing without the Days 2. I use this to cheat out a few extra rounds on bosses typically if I get it.
I had an Awoken Hellhorn game
Mm-hmm.
where I had sketches. So I had all my units on the second floor. I put Spike Awoken on the first floor, and I had a round where I tiresome climbed it so it was dazed, and then just March shielded him to the front, so he was still dazed.
Mm-hmm.
But then just put the spikes in front of the floor filled with sketches, and I was like, who cares that he's dazed? He's great.
Yeah, he's just gonna tank anyway. That 5 damage doesn't matter. It's
But
it's good. Good enough anyway. Up next, 3 energy, spell, deal damage to the front enemy unit to equal to 4 times the amount of armor on friendly units. This is Battering Ram. This is like the
I
capstone to that armor build, right?
I haven't won with battering ram. I still don't have it golded.
I have it golded, but I don't. I think this was just like, well, I'm not removing this. I gotta tell you something. I thought this card cost 2 energy.
It's 3.
Uh, what the hell?
It's expensive.
So
It should cost 2.
yeah, let's talk about the nuance about this card first, because this one isn't the most obvious. First of all, maybe we should have said this sooner, but I think this is the first card that this really matters on. It says equal to the amount of armor on friendly units, but that is the caveat is spells only apply to units on the floor that you're casting it. Keep that in mind as
Yes.
well. But it does, and it's only the front enemy. It's like it's okay, right? In some
It's
builds, this is
it's
just gonna one shot bosses.
it's hard to one shot bosses with it, but it can.
Yeah, like if you're really going in on that armor plan, you're gonna want to pick up one of these. But for the most part, I would probably pass this because it's so niche.
I'd like to here's the perfect scenario for this card, right? And it's a
Okay,
lot of setup for it,
all
right?
right, let's hear it.
You're doing like a spell weakness, Stygian Hellhorned, armor and can't build,
Jesus Christ.
right? So on your first floor, you got
Okay.
like the sweep spell weakness lady,
Uh huh.
right?
Uh huh.
And you're using that to just to stack up a bunch of spell weakness on the boss.
Okay.
You're using your second floor to kill all the units in front of the boss.
Mm-hmm.
And on the
Tiresome
third
climb.
floor, you got a steel worker who's been there the whole
Okay.
fight.
Okay.
You've got like 20 stacks of spell weakness on the boss from that first floor,
Mm-hmm.
and you just battering ram and do 8,000 damage.
Okay. Counter argument to this plan.
It won't work.
No, no, no. Instead of playing Battering Ram, what if you just played Crypt Builder on him and did the same amount of damage?
It does way more damage than Crypt Builder.
Okay. I mean, depending on how much armor your Steelworker has. I think
It's
that
4 times. It's 4 times. It'll do more. Trust me.
okay, I trust you. I mean, you only need like what 15 armor to do more than 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Again, like when I say all of that, it sounds easy, right? But
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's gonna be a lot harder than that.
yeah,
So
yeah. Also, another part of this plan is just no enemies ever spawn other than the
yeah,
boss ever.
exactly.
I think the battering
And you had
ram.
plenty of time to put all that armor on the steel worker, and then
Mm-hmm.
like and he never got hit.
Yeah, never got hit. Everything died on the second floor to your. Oh, I know. Everything died on the second floor to the next card we're gonna talk about. 3 energy spell, piercing, deal 100 damage to friendly and enemy units on the floor. Inferno. You got anything else you want to say about battering ram before we move on? Just
No,
felt like a
I mean,
nice segue.
I guess more or less like you need, like we said it before, but you need this card if you're trying to do like a big armor strategy. But even then, it's really expensive.
And it kind of sucks because you're not gonna kill backline with this. Hopefully your armored units are killing backline.
hmm
I don't like it personally. Anyway, Inferno.
It's it kills.
Yeah, this card kills
What units in
extremely.
the game have more than 100 HP other than the winged guardian boys in the end of the game?
Basically, every heavy unit that's it's like so past Covenant 23, the clipped Guardians have 105. The 690 boys they get 105 health, and yeah, basically just pretty much everything that spawns on Seraph in the front has more than 100 HP. Higher wings have 130. Gilded
Oof.
wings have 190, and yeah, shade wings, things like that. But this is still a big chunk for 3 damage. Plus, it goes through armor.
If you have some sort of setup where your first floor is just empty for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
like you're doing sketches, right? You're doing a sketches build, and all of your units are on the second floor. You put holdover on this card, it does work.
Yeah, it's not
You're
bad.
just constantly playing on the first floor, softening anything that lives comes to the second floor. Your sketches floor wipes them out, and then no one ever gets to the third floor.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's okay. It's not something that I really take, but when I start with it, I'm pretty happy with it. Just like, it kind of just
Yeah,
kills early bosses, too.
that's true as well. Yeah, it does ruin bosses. But it falls off because it's unless you have an empty floor, it's going to kill your units.
It does
It's
kill your
very
units.
it's very hard to get units with over 100 health.
And it is piercing as well, so it crushes right through armor, damage shield, everything.
Hmm.
I don't have much more to say about it. I think the card's okay.
I agree.
Up next, our final uncommon boy. 4 energy, 50 attack, 50 health, no card text, 3 space, Demon Fiend, aka Demon Friend. He's okay.
He is big.
He's very large.
He
You know,
also
we
costs too much.
we talk there's no tanks, but like this dude is just a wall of health.
He costs too much.
He does cost way too much.
I mean, like we talked about it a couple days ago, I think, but like I had a run where because I had this guy in my start, I took the first upgrade, the major enhancement. I took the energy enhancement, so I was able to play him. I gave him multi strike, and then he carried me.
Yeah, I think that if you see this guy, you can take him, and if you take him, you just have to take energy from Daedalus, or you need to have a way to generate energy that will be persistent, right? Because like ice cream, or he's good with sketches of salvation as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say sketches as well. Like he's maybe the best, other than like consumer of crowns for Hellhorned, but
yeah, and he just kind of like you just slap him down on the floor, and if you have nothing better to do, you have the energy to play him. You just slap him down. He's a 50-50. He'll beat the shit out of some enemies for you.
man, like
He is expensive.
it's so like think about like if you're playing melting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Burnout Rector,
Oh my
0
god.
cost, 2
Uh-huh.
space, like with starting stats 65, 65.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like look, Demon Fiend looks like an idiot compared to him.
And all you have to do with Rector is give him one of the like million cards that extend burnout or reform him.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I don't think Demon Fiend is great. I typically pass him now, but he's fun to take at the lower covenants, I think, because he just beats face.
I will say though, because someone might mention this, the thing he has over Burnout Rector is that you can upgrade him.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
multi strike, etc., stuff like that is cool.
He's all right. I wouldn't take him at high covenant, but I think at low covenant he's pretty fun. And like if you have the build for him, he's a good pickup. He's not a build around, I don't think. He's like I can take this here.
Yes, I agree.
And that concludes uncommons. Let's move on. We're almost done now. The rares. Starting off here, we got our X cost spell, the Spike of the Hellhorned. Consume, apply 2x rage and 2x armor.
I hate most of the spikes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the only spike that's good is the Umbra spike.
Yeah, and also, I mean, like, you need like big energy. If you had like 4 Pyre Chompers and you had ice cream, I forget the name of it again. Unbroken Horn.
Unbroken Horn, yeah.
If you had some way to generate a lot of energy, or your other clan did as well, like you had some way to generate a lot of energy. Sure, Spike of the Hellhorn is kind of cool.
I don't even think it's the best spike though.
Yeah, like it's just it's good on your backline. Again, it's the same application where you can put it on your backline. But think about it this way, right? If you do it for 2, it's worse than it's worse than what's it called?
Yeah, Inflame,
right?
yeah.
It's Flame, yeah.
It's another one of the cards that really just wants you to throw double stack on it.
But even then, it's just like
it's okay with double stack.
You need big energy somehow in order to play it effectively.
Right. All right.
Then you need to get big energy in the same turn that you have in your hand.
One other thing to say is I think that I don't take the remove consume enhancement very often, and I think that this is a terrible card to take remove consume on.
Yeah. Again, unless you're a big energy generator.
Yeah.
Also, I can see a world. I can see a world where
Okay.
somehow you manage to remove consume and then hold over. Well, because most of the cards that generate energy, most of them consume, at least the good ones,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you somehow remove consume, add holdover to, let's say the one where it's units that have died, you get energy for, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
The burn. What is it?
That's
The
a
melting card, the
yeah,
melting one.
melting card, like memories of the burnt or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. If you get, let's say, again, Magical Christmas Land, you get that, and you somehow hold over it, right?
Uh huh.
And remove consume on it.
Uh huh.
Play that for, let's say, 30 energy, right?
Uh huh.
You then somehow have also managed to remove consume and then put holdover on Spike of the Hellhorned,
Holy shit! This is magical Christmas world.
right? But how cool would that
That would be
be?
pretty cool. I think you can actually make that happen a little bit easier by just putting endless onto a pyre chomper. You get less energy, but like it's still
Yeah.
3+3 every turn. It's okay. Also, I think that this spike's better if you get that relic that gives the X cards get +3, but like every card that has X, it gets better with plus
Oh
three
yeah,
on it.
yeah, yeah. We didn't mention that before for Vent, but like obviously
Yeah,
Vent's
but
a pretty.
like the event doesn't really get much from that, in my opinion. +6 attack. It's like whatever.
Yeah, it's not amazing, but like this is a card where that's amazing for. I would
Yeah.
agree with. Zero cost. We're saying zero cost, 6 rage, 6 armor. That's good.
Eat your heart out, ritual of battle.
Yeah, exactly.
Up next, this is I don't know if I've ever actually taken this card. 0 energy spell, deal 5 damage, apply 7 rage, dark deal.
Dark deal is good, dude.
I like this is a card that you have to actively pick, and I've never been in a situation where they offered me this card and I
No,
went, oh
dark deal
yeah.
is so good. Dark deal is so, it's that same argument you have for the other card that I forget the name of, the brand.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Branding ritual. But like way
yeah,
better
yeah,
because
yeah,
this costs 0.
yeah. It's like it's zero cost 5 damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that's all the card said, that'd be honestly not a bad card, right? Because you're using it to pick off backlines still.
Right.
It doesn't have piercing, so if they have armor, it's an issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have the trial where they get armor, it's useless.
Yeah.
Where this card is really good is the 7 rage, because you're using it to think of the same application as the +8 -2 on Awoken, right?
Right. Okay.
This is a temporary -5 HP, but it's +14 for 0 cost.
Yeah, I think this card's good. I just have never been in a position where it got offered and I went, oh yeah.
This card is like an auto include if you have some sort of rage. If you're using rage for your main source of damage,
Okay.
if you have the rage doesn't go away, if you're using deranged brute, which are coming up on soon,
Mm-hmm.
etc., etc. Uh, this is where Dark Deal is amazing, and even without that, it's I think still a pretty good card for the ability to pick off backlines.
All right. I don't have I feel like I've been playing random and I have not been getting a ton of Hellhorns, so I there are some cards in Hellhorn. I think there's like 2 cards in here that I really don't have a take on. The next one's coming up in a little. No, there's 3 cards actually. The next 2 are coming up. They're all rares because rare cards are different than common and uncommon on High Covenant, especially because you cannot. Like you won't get these in your starting deck. Your starting deck is always a common, 2 commons, one from each of your starting clans, and then an uncommon from your primary starting clan. So you'll never be forced to take one of these rares. So as a result, I think that like my opinion on rares changes a little bit more than uncommons and commons because these are cards that you have to choose to take.
They are called rare for a reason.
They are called rare for a good reason. Up next, 1 energy spell, consume, apply 25 armor, alloy of the ancients. This
It's a good card.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say about this, really. This is like, if I see this card in my rare draft, I look at the other 2 cards in the rare draft, and if neither of them are good, then I just take this, right?
Yeah, it is. It is by definition like an auto include. There's no deck where you don't want this because it's a good card no matter what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. The only
There's other better cards potentially for you.
Yeah,
But if the other cards suck, you're like, yo, this is a card that I want in my deck.
like basically the only bad thing you can say about Alloy of the Ancients is you're not picking a different card instead of it. It's just so like okay.
I would say it's beyond okay and that it's in the realm of good.
Yeah, it's like okay, but not in like the it's okay. It's like okay in the okay sense. You see what I mean?
I did say before that the Awoken have better healing cards. I
Mm-hmm.
actually lied because this is like Because like when you think about it, like it's not a literal heal, so it doesn't trigger rejuvenate.
Right.
But out like no matter what you're doing, 1 energy, 25 health that overheals.
It's
No,
just
nothing else does that.
yeah.
At face value, it consumes, so it carries upgrades poorly because you don't get to use those over multiple times.
Yeah,
But
but like if you put double stack on this is 1 energy, 50 armor, which is kind of insane.
mhm.
Uh, yeah, I mean this is just it's a card that the only reason you wouldn't take this is because you're offered something better.
Mhm.
Up next, 1 energy, 10 attack, 25 health, 2 space. Rage on friendly units adds an additional +2 attack per stack. It is Deranged Brute.
So you said before that you basically have never picked this card.
Yeah, I have him golden, but like I don't think he did anything in my run. I'm pretty sure this was like a Covenant 2 run where I was like, oh, that guy looks cool.
So I'll again tell you a story about my experience with Deranged Brute.
Please go ahead.
I upgraded him
Hmm.
with multi strike and +7 rage.
Oh.
Right? He is now a let's see. So that's 7. We would normally be +14, but that's +28. So he's a 38/25 with multi strike, right?
Uh-huh. Okay.
2 space unit only costs 1. Doesn't
Yeah,
that sound pretty nice?
that does sound pretty nice, but I think in my mind, I look at this guy and I look at him as like, you want to upgrade him to be your tank and you want to put some rage generators behind him. That's how I always think to play him when I see him.
I've always used him as a DPS that does not need any more HP upgrades because he
Okay.
doesn't need because then he doesn't have the like that problem you had with Branded Warrior and Horned Warrior. He doesn't have this problem because he has 25 HP. He can take a bunch of hits on spikes. He can get swept a few times. He won't die
Right.
from that,
Yeah, that's
and
pretty
then
good.
he can carry damage as well. Because like, when you look at him, also like he has no like he's not very tanky. He's got 25 starting HP, but he's not a steel worker. He doesn't have more armor coming his way. Like just 25 HP on its own, not a great tank.
I think that the unit that this guy is the most comparable to, get ready for this one. This one might be a bit of a stretch. I think he's the most comparable to the Stygian Hot Shark that applies Frostbite on Revenge.
I can see that if you're using him in the tank role.
Yeah, that's how I've always looked at him. So making him a damage dealer is kind of cool. I can see it. I feel like I never am playing Rage when I get offered this guy. I'm usually trying to do like
Yeah, you
something
do need to
else.
do. It's better when you are already in rage,
Yeah,
obviously. But
I don't know.
I swear by Deranged Brew as a good DPS, and then if you have let's say right, you get the room upgrade, so you have 6 space on your train floors.
Mm-hmm.
You put a steelworker in front of them, a tank in front of them, right? You
Right.
have Deranged Brute and Branded Warrior.
Mm-hmm. That's a
Doesn't
lot of
that sound
damage.
nice?
That does sound nice, and also I think he really makes that Rage 7 upgrade a lot better.
Yeah, that Rage
All right.
7 upgrade generally not very good, but like he doubles rage.
And needless to say, all of these rage cards, like it almost goes without saying, but like this guy especially, just like goes insane if you get that relic that makes rage not decay.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just
The
nuts.
rage not decay, and then there's the other one that gives resonant shard, I think, +1 for rage
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
There's some if you get some good rage relics early, I recommend building into rage. Worst case scenario, you die on with the second boss. Best case scenario, you get some good rage units and you sweep.
Yeah. All right. Up next, 1 energy spell. Deal damage to the front enemy unit equal to 15 times the number of imp units in your deck. It is Impolate.
Why like they put so many imp puns? Not necessary.
Yeah, yeah. This is the only spell in the game. Not the only spell in the game, but one of the main spells in this game that makes me go, man, I wish there was like trample for spells.
I didn't think about that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, like this spell, Battering Ram, all of a sudden, all of these decks seem so much better if you could throw trample on this spell, right? Because
I agree because you super overkill any frontline unit you hit.
mm-hmm.
Any tank in the front, they die no matter what, right? Which is cool, but then it's just like, oh, what about all these little guys behind him?
Yeah, yeah, and then they'll sweep you. So the things that there are to note about Impolate, I haven't played a ton of this card, but I've asked questions about this card plenty of times. It does gain more damage than if more imps are generated through Imp in a Box or any other card. And
Imp Circle, Imp in a
yeah,
Box.
and it doesn't lose damage if you play the imps. They're still considered in
Yes.
your
Yeah.
deck. So, in a lot of cases, this is going to just be like one energy deal. Like, if you pick this card and you don't have a ton of imps, it's still one energy deal, like 30 to 45 damage to the front line with an upper bound of like, if you have a ton of imp generation, this card just kills whatever tank you're going against.
Yeah.
But,
I would say if you have 3 imps in your deck, or if you have Imsicle, you should take this card probably.
yeah. This is
Unless you intend on removing those imps for some reason.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you have like so much if you get so many of the card removals that you remove all of your train stewards, all of your I don't know, all of your torches, and then you're like, oh man, these imps suck in here. I'm gonna get rid of them now too.
Yeah.
Then don't take Implate, but
That's not going to happen.
yeah.
It's okay. This isn't a card that kills the boss for you though, right? None of these like scaling up deal damage to front enemy units cards are gonna really do enough to kill the boss, right? It's 15 times the number of imp units in your deck, but Impelate, like you're in your best case, you're maybe gonna get to like let's say Magical Fantasyland, you're gonna get to like maybe 20 imps if you have Impsicle and a ton of imp in the
Oh, that's
boxes.
a lot of imps.
Yeah, and that's only 300 damage. This is a card that kills frontline units and it never kills major bosses.
If they have spell weakness 20 though,
Yeah. You just gotta splash
skill
and
is there for
station.
one hit, dude.
Yeah. Okay. Use your Impish Scholar to bring back the Apply Spell Weakness 2 card. All of a sudden,
Oh, get away from me with those urchins.
up next, the last of the imps. 1 energy, 1 attack, 1 health, 1 space. Transcend Imp. When played, repeat all summon effects triggered so far this battle.
I've literally never played this card.
All right, I can tell you about Transcend Imp. The very interesting thing about Transcend Imp to me is that I'm actually going to flip to some of the other clans here. Not a lot of clans have summon effects. Like, this card is pretty much printed for imps. First of all,
There's a reason why it's an imp.
yeah. First of all, the first thing to note is that this effect is not considered a summon effect. For this effect to trigger, it has to have the summon keyword, which is weird because like this imp for
Me, if I have 6 Transcendents for some reason, who knows how they all got
some
there,
fucking hell pact has occurred.
right? Let's say I have 6 Transcendents, and I play 3 of them in the same turn. It won't cause 18 Pyre Chomper effects.
No, it will not. Correct. You have answered this question correctly. Good job. I'm gonna click through real quick. I'm pretty sure that they really sparingly use the summon keyword. I'm gonna pose.
The Awoken tanks have the summon, right? Where they get more HP.
I think they are the only units in this game with a summon effect. I'm looking now, real quick. I'm pretty sure they are the only units in this game that have the summon keyword. Oh, I could just search all units actually. Show me.
Well, try searching the word summon.
Yeah, I can just search summon. So yeah, this summon effect only triggers for.
Oh, Morsel Masters, dude.
Yeah, if only, right?
No, but they do have. Oh wait, no, they don't.
It doesn't say summon. It doesn't say summon in bold. So the only things that will summon with Transcend Imp are imp effects and the 2 Awoken Hollow and Thorned Hollow summon effects. That's it.
That's not good.
No, it really is not. Like, this is a card that you take because you have a lot of imps, or you have basically this is a card you take because you have a lot of imps.
I've solved Transcend Imp. Okay, I figured it out.
All right, I'm ready.
Remember before when I said that Welder Helper could be like a niche 1 space tank? You play 4 Welder Helpers and let them all just die.
Okay, yeah.
You give Transcend Imp 2 25 HP upgrades. He enters with 60 armor.
Okay.
And then 51 HP.
Okay. And then
at the end.
On top of this, your secondary clan is Awoken, and you've played 4 Thorned Hollows, and he also just gains like 160 max HP.
Okay.
And then he's
Unleash the Wildwood.
Yeah. And then you watch as he kills Seraph 1 HP at a time.
Exactly.
I think he's okay. Like this card's okay, you know.
I don't even think it's okay. I don't.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of bad. On the bright side, though, if you play like 3 Impish Scholars to get a bunch of Imp in the boxes back, you can also use Transcend Imp to get those Imp in the boxes back again. And then maybe you can get up to like 30 Imps for the purposes of Impolate.
You can't keep doing this.
You never know, dude.
You can't keep just filling your train with Imps.
I mean, the
To what end?
the imp infinite, the impfinite, if you will, is on its way.
No.
All right. Up next, another card that I really have very like the last card that I would say I have very little experience with. 3 energy spell consume double the amount of rage on friendly units, not range. This is last stand.
I like the art. That guy looks pretty angry.
Oh yeah, he's got a lot of arrows in him. Like physically talking, this dude's
He's
dead.
freaking Boromir, dude.
Yeah, he's about to stop them from taking the ring or whatever the hell happens in
No,
The Legend of
he's
Zelda.
about to blow the horn of Gondor, dude.
Oh,
Come on.
they're sending the hobbits somewhere.
What are you talking? You watch Lord of the
I
Rings?
have not seen it.
Oh my god. Um,
It's
it's a weird card, right? Or it's not
yeah
even a weird card. It's a very direct card,
yeah.
right? Double the rage. When is this useful?
When you have a lot of rage,
Exactly.
I'm a genius.
He solved the puzzle, dude.
I'm great.
Remember before I was talking about how cool it was to have Deranged Brute with starting with rage,
Uh huh.
and then like have Horned Warrior who starts with rage,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is like a card that kind of goes well with that, but like how much rage do you need to have before this is worth it, right? We talked before about how Ritual of Battle sucks,
I would
right?
go so far as to say you probably just need like if you can get this down after playing like 2 fledgling imps, it's probably value.
Yeah. Um, and also the important keyword here is that it's on friendly units, not a single unit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's everyone.
You want to play on a floor that has multiple units that are benefiting from rage,
Yeah.
which is possible because Branded Warrior applies rage to all units.
Yeah. I think that Last Stand is actually a card that has probably rage. I think that rage actually does best when your main source of like your main rage unit is not from Hellhorned. I think you're best off using this with Incant Siren that gains rage on Incant.
I don't like that lady
I
that
mean,
much.
it depends on how much Incant you can do, right?
That's true.
I think that she's good there, and I think it could maybe work with Mr. Big Sludge from the Remnant faction.
I have yet to see how good Big Sludge is.
Yeah, I'm also struggling to see how good Big Sludge is because he's a rare and he's so weird.
Yeah,
But that's
I will say Last Stand also a great candidate for permafrost.
yeah for sure because you want to time this out when you have the amount of rage
Yeah.
you want. Anything
Uh,
else? I
uh,
it's
I mean, and it's obviously like we made fun of Ritual of Battle so much.
yeah
There are situations where this is much worse because it's 3 mana, do nothing because none of your units have rage.
yeah, but if you're in a position where this is a 3 mana do nothing, your deck is fucked. Like you made a
Yeah.
terrible mistake somewhere along the line.
Or you got really unlucky with your draw order.
Yeah, which is when why you would put Permafrost on this thing. I think that like in terms of comparing this to Ritual of Battle, as I like to do with all of these rage cards, I feel like this card's way better.
Yeah.
All right. Up next, 3 energy spell, consume double armor on a unit. It is reinforce.
Hey, it's like Last Stand but armor.
Yeah, like literally, except it's only on a single unit. It's good. If you have armor.
I've never had enough armor to where it's just like, oh, yo, this is gonna be so good for me.
Okay,
But like,
get your magical Christmas land out because it's my
yeah,
turn.
exactly. Okay, yeah. Hit me. With it.
Yeah. So you're gonna take your Steelworker. You're gonna get that relic that gives +4 armor whenever you apply armor. You're gonna stick that Steelworker top floor. He's gonna be gaining 9 armor around. You're gonna throw a few Alloy of the Ancients on him. You're gonna throw him a few Fortifies. You're gonna smack that boy with a Reinforce. He's gonna have about 1,000,000,000 armor.
Is there a cap on armor?
I have not found one yet. I had a situation where this was good the other night with Hornbreaker Prince with Wrathful, the one where he slays to gain armor.
Yeah.
On like floor 2, I threw spikes on him and just let him tank all of the little goons. And by the end of the combat, I threw a reinforce on him and he had like 400 armor or something like that.
And then you battering rammed, right?
No, and then they just walked past me and killed my pyre because I didn't do any damage. But I had a lot of armor on the way out.
I think here's the issue with armor, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
This card is good for big armor deck. Battering ram is good for big armor deck. You want to probably put permafrost on both, but then you can't play both in the same turn.
Yeah.
I think if one of them costs 2, you could put a 1 cost reduction on each of them, and then you could realistically play both of them on the same turn.
Yeah, I think these cards that we're about to be talking about, since these are in order of energy, these are cards that really need you to have some way to manipulate your energy.
Yeah.
Like the reinforce and last stand both. I think like just
Last
reduce.
stand, I would say less so. Last
Yeah,
stand, I feel like you can just kind of permafrost it and then just wait.
yeah. Depending on how you're like where you're getting your rage from, right? But like I feel like Hellhorned is interestingly enough the most reliant on being able to manipulate your armor in some way, or not your armor,
Mhm.
sorry, your energy in some way. Because they have so many big costed spells that really you want to have energy to be able to play multiple cards in a turn with them.
Speaking of a big costed spell,
Uh huh. Up next, 5 energy. Apply multi strike 1. Consume 1 Horn's Tome. I fucking
and then
hate.
in the next card, Consumer of Crowns. Like
Yeah.
it's just so bad.
It's like it's terrible. I have this card golden, and I'm pretty sure in the run where I got this card golden, I never played it.
How do you play it?
Like
I haven't figured out how to play. I have not played it yet.
you have to like take energy from the boss and also give this a cost reduction.
Or two costs. Like it's just for one multi strike.
This card sucks. Just pick Furnace Tap. Just
Yeah, Furnace Tap. Oh man, I love Furnace Tap so much more.
yeah, like obviously, comparing Hellhorn to Umbra cards is like wrong because A, we haven't reviewed Umbra cards, and B, like, you can't always have access to Umbra
Nope.
cards.
Show me evidence of anyone ever playing One Horn's Tome. It's just never happened.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of it. I think the only okay, I have hypothesized the best case to take 1 Horn's Tome.
Okay.
You need your secondary to be melting, and you need to get Flicker's Liquor, the relic that makes it so that when you play a unit, a card costs 0.
Okay.
That's it. Like that's like that, or like ice cream and a bunch of pyre chompers, right?
Yeah.
But like then you're still paying 5 energy for 1 multi-strike is good. But I think this card should just cost 4 as a baseline, and then it's like so much better.
Yeah. Then it's like reasonably reachable.
Anyway, moving on to our final unit. Unless you have anything else you want to say about 1 Horn's Tome.
Hold on, yeah, I got one more thing.
Uh
Did we say it's not good?
huh. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Closing thoughts. Oh god.
I mean, still better than Ritual of Battle, though.
Yeah, you shit ritual
At
battle.
least this is like, you've got like a goal to accomplish. Your goal is to play this card.
Yeah.
Ritual of Battle, you play it and you feel bad.
Yeah,
You
it's like,
played it.
oh boy, I played Ritual of Battle. Haha. If only I had just taken any other card. Ugh. Ritual
Okay.
of Battle. Eat shit. Finally, the big Chonk Lord himself, the master of the memes. 10 energy, 100 attack, 40 health, 3 space, cost -3 energy per imp unit in play. Crown Consumer. The Consumer of Crowns. Our last card.
Can you imagine? I would actually say this guy is pretty good if he costs 9, because then you could, at base level, like 3 energy and you're starting, right?
Uh huh.
You go Pyre Chomper, and then you just play Consumer of Crowns.
Okay, yeah, wait.
That'd be cool,
Yeah.
because that's enough, right? I did the
Yeah,
math
that is
right.
enough. That is enough because Pyro Chopper
Exactly.
costs 1. You're at 6 energy. Yeah. I
But he
mean,
doesn't
no.
cost 10, which
Consumer
is
of
definitely intentional.
yeah, Consumer of Crowns is really weird to me because if you look at basically every other imp synergy card, they involve sacrificing imps. So taking a bunch of imp synergies is like you play the imp, you get their summon, then you sacrifice them for benefit. And then you take Consumer of Crowns and it goes, well, half the cards where I sacrifice imps are now worthless until I play this big Chonk Lord. And also, if you draw this guy in your opening hand, like you will sometimes, he's just worthless.
Yeah. Is Consumer good with Impsicle? Most of the other imp cards, like the imp matter cards, we've been like, yeah, these are like borderline playable to like an auto include, right?
Yeah,
When you have Impsicle, is Consumer an auto include?
I mean, yeah, probably because what you can just like if you have Impsicle, you can just spend your first 3 rounds putting imps on the top 4 where they're nice and safe, and then hope you draw Consumer of Crowns in time to play them before the enemies go up there and massacre your imps.
Yes.
But like realistically, Consumer of Crowns is a card where you don't play this guy because you have imps in play. You play this guy because you have a way to cheat his energy out.
Yeah, you play this. This is an auto include if you're trying to do some sort of Sketches of Salvation build,
Mm-hmm.
or you're trying to play Channel Song.
Channel Song, yeah.
Even then, Channel Song, I don't like them
And
that
then
much.
I don't know, like maybe again, same thing with 1 Horn's Tome. Auto take this guy if you have Flicker's Liquor.
That one I agree with 100%.
And basically, any way that you manipulate your energy, you pick this guy. Because he's like, he
Yeah.
is a 140, which is really weird. Let's talk about his stats for a minute, because like most of these units, I feel
He's
like,
front loaded.
yeah,
You
he's
called him the
like
Chonk Lord, but the other demon before,
alpha,
the other fiend,
yeah,
had
demon
more
fiend.
HP.
Yeah, the big problem with
50-50. He's got more HP than him.
the biggest problem with Consumer of Crowns is like this guy doesn't win you the game if you play him. It's a big difficulty to play
He does
him.
if you play One Horn's Tomb on him.
Oh shit, dude. I don't know. It's just okay. Once again, we're gonna have to compare him to someone who fills a similar role. And I'm gonna bring it up here. We're gonna go over to Umbra. We're gonna go to rare units. You know who I'm about to talk about.
Oh, I love him so much.
6 health Chonk Lord, right? We'll talk about this guy a little more in depth, but like if you play Shadow Siege, 6 energy, 200, 150, he wins you the game. Like this is a man.
I've played Shadow Siege more often than I've played Consumer. Like as far as like actually just casting him.
I have never played Shadow Siege in my life. The stars have
so
never
cool.
aligned.
He's so cool.
I really want to. I've taken him like 4 or 5 times and I just always die before I can play him. But look at Shadow Siege's stats, right? Because I would say Shadow Siege is equally hard to play, because you're gonna need to cheat him out the same way that you're cheating out Consumer of Crowns.
Yes.
But Consumer of Crowns has like literally more than half of his stats.
Yes.
Consumer of Crowns just dies in like 2 rounds against Seraph. Whereas Shadow Siege, if you throw double strike on Shadow Siege, you just put him down and he straight up 1v1s Seraph. That's like like
does he actually? It's like what? It's like 30 damage versus him doing 600 every turn.
Yeah, Shadow Siege does
400 every turn.
Shadow Siege. If you throw a multi strike on Shadow Siege, he's going to do 400 around. He's got 150. If you just let him go against Seraph, nothing. Let's just go straight up, right? 100.
We're talking Covenant 25, right?
Yeah, Covenant 25, 4,000 health Seraph, 200 attack, 150. He's going to get 4 rounds in, which means he's going to do just straight up 800 with no help. If you give him a little assistance, give him maybe like a multi-strike and a health upgrade, he gets an extra round in, he's doing twice as much damage, he's going to take out like half of Seraph's health. Mm-hmm. Consumer of Crowns, 1v1ing Seraph does 100 damage.
Yeah.
And they're equally difficult to play. Comparing them in that light is maybe wrong because you're looking at it against Seraph. Yeah. Look at them in general. Look at them in general play. Consumer of Crowns barely kills heavies past level 5, level 4 even.
Shadow Siege does kill everything, huh?
Shadow Siege kills everything except for Gilded Wings on the last 2 waves, but if you give him a little help, he will. Look, and comparing across classes, etc., but this is one of the few cases where I think you really need to, because there's only really 2 units like this in the game where they are really hard to play. Because, and it's like, oh, well, he's actually free if you just have 4 imps in play. Show me a run on Covenant 25 where you have the space and the fucking time to keep 4 imps in play to play this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It never happens. But he's fun.
Yeah,
Sketches of Salvation.
He's not bad.
No, like
when you're doing that, like why not do both?
Yeah.
Right. Like if you're in Hellhorn and you're trying to cheat out someone, he's a good target.
Yeah, he's a good unit to cheat out. Like the big thing that he has over Shadow Siege is he takes up like half as much space.
That is true.
So, it's just weird because you have to do all of this and then you also need to throw something in front of him to tank for him. Or you need to like buff his health. Maybe give him a large stone. I don't know.
Give him quick.
Give him give him quick. Sure. That'll help him a lot. Actually. And yeah. I mean that's it, right? That's all the cards in Hellhorned.
Yeah, that's all of them, I think.
That is all of them.
The secret one that I don't know about?
Well, there is Ritual of Battle.
You want to talk about Ritual of Battle real quick?
Yeah. You want to go back and just... Actually, how about we just start over? You want to just do this video a second time?
I want to just do it, but every single card is Ritual of Battle?
Yeah. Fucking Hellhorned review, but every single card is Ritual of Battle. It's just a 5-minute video of us just going, wow, it sucks. Alright. Well, that's that, right? That's Hellhorned on the books. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Bit of a long one, but I thought it was pretty fun. If you enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like. Drop a comment about how much you love Ritual of Battle, please. I'm going to need Ritual of Battle's hype men in the comment section. And yeah, have a good one.